You won't believe what John Schneider admitted after this game, and one part of his reaction has Blue Jays fans talking. Right after the Blue Jays wrapped up their game against the Washington Nationals, manager John Schneider didn't try to hide anything. Instead of making excuses, he faced the media and spoke honestly about what happened on the field. According to Schneider, the biggest issue wasn't effort, it was execution. He pointed out that the team had opportunities, but simply couldn't capitalize when it mattered most. That's the part a lot of fans are focusing on, because if this keeps happening, it could become a much bigger problem moving forward. But here's where things get even more interesting. Schneider also made it clear that nobody inside the clubhouse is giving up. He believes this team is capable of playing much better, and he stressed that the players know the standard they have to reach. Those comments have sparked a lot of debate among Blue Jays fans. Some believe it's only a temporary slump, while others think bigger changes might be coming. Now think about this. With the season reaching a crucial stage, every single game matters. One strong winning streak could completely change the conversation, but another stretch of disappointing performances could put even more pressure on the coaching staff and the front office. And that's exactly why Schneider's post-game comments are getting so much attention right now.
What makes Schneider's comments even more interesting is the timing. The Blue Jays know they can't afford to let games like this slip away, especially with the pressure continuing to build. Every missed opportunity, every defensive mistake, and every quiet night at the plate starts adding up over the course of a long season. Inside the clubhouse, the message appears to be simple: stay together and keep fighting. But that's much easier said than done when expectations are this high. Fans have already started debating whether the lineup needs changes, whether the pitching staff needs more support, and whether this team can still turn things around before it's too late. What's also worth paying attention to is how the players respond over the next few games. Sometimes a tough post-game speech can wake up an entire team. Other times, it reveals that frustration has been building behind the scenes for much longer than anyone realized. And if that's the case, then this latest press conference may have revealed much more than Schneider actually intended.
At the same time, there's another side to this story that people aren't talking about enough. Baseball seasons are full of ups and downs, but what separates good teams from great teams is how they respond when everything seems to be going against them. That's the challenge sitting in front of the Blue Jays right now. John Schneider knows every decision he makes will be analyzed. Whether it's the batting order, pitching changes, or late-game strategy, every move will be under the microscope until the team starts producing consistent results again. What's interesting is that several players still expressed confidence inside the clubhouse after the game. They believe this team has too much talent to stay in this position for long. But confidence alone doesn't win baseball games. It has to show up on the field. The next series could completely change the mood around this team. A couple of strong performances, timely hitting, and solid pitching could erase a lot of the criticism we've been hearing over the last few days. On the other hand, if the same problems continue, the questions surrounding this team are only going to get louder. Fans are already wondering whether changes could be coming, and those conversations usually become much more serious if the results don't improve quickly. For John Schneider, the pressure isn't disappearing anytime soon, and what happens over the next few games may end up deciding much more than just another spot in the standings.
There's one final point that could end up being the most important of all. When a manager steps in front of the cameras after a difficult game, every word matters. Players hear it, fans analyze it, reporters break it down, and opposing teams pay attention too. John Schneider's message wasn't about pointing fingers. It was about accountability. He made it clear that the standard inside the Blue Jays clubhouse hasn't changed, even if the recent results haven't matched the expectations. Now the spotlight shifts completely to the players. Can the offense finally deliver with runners in scoring position? Can the pitching staff put together another complete performance? And can the defense eliminate the small mistakes that have made such a big difference in close games? These are the questions that will define the next chapter of the Blue Jays season. What's fascinating is that one win can completely change the atmosphere around a baseball team. Confidence returns. The pressure eases.
suddenly everyone starts believing again. As the attention around this team continues to grow, one thing is becoming impossible to ignore. The Blue Jays still have enough talent to compete with anyone when they're playing their best baseball. We've seen flashes of it throughout the season. The problem has never been whether this roster is capable. The problem has been putting everything together at the same time. One night, the pitching looks outstanding, but the offense goes quiet. The next game, the hitters finally wake up, but the defense gives away extra opportunities. That's exactly the kind of inconsistency John Schneider was talking about after the game. Now everyone inside the organization is looking for one complete performance. Not just a good inning, not just a strong start from one pitcher, an entire game where
And that's exactly where the pressure starts to become real. Because once a team reaches this point in the season, there are no easy answers anymore. Every game begins to feel like a test, and every decision carries a little more weight than the last one. That's especially true for a club with postseason expectations. The Blue Jays weren't expected to simply compete this year. They were expected to challenge some of the best teams in baseball. That's why every missed opportunity feels so much bigger than it normally would. Inside the clubhouse, though, the mindset hasn't changed. The players continue to believe they can turn things around, and John Schneider made it clear that confidence hasn't disappeared. He knows this roster has shown flashes of what it's capable of doing. The problem is turning those flashes into consistency. One strong game isn't enough anymore. The goal now is to build momentum that lasts for an entire series, and eventually for weeks instead of days. That's where leadership becomes critical. Veteran players have to keep the younger guys focused. The coaching staff has to make adjustments without creating panic. And everyone has to remember that baseball seasons are rarely decided by one difficult stretch. Still, it's impossible to ignore how quickly momentum can change. A team that looks completely out of rhythm one week can suddenly become one of the hottest clubs in the league the next. We've seen it happen before, and that's exactly what Blue Jays fans are hoping to see now. But hope only goes so far.
So now it's your turn. Do you think John Schneider's message will be enough to wake this team up? Or do the Blue Jays need bigger changes before it's too late? Drop your opinion in the comments, because I want to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Blue Jays news, post-game reactions, and breaking MLB updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.